Hey kids, it's Mr. Fly here, hope you're well. Now, how would you like Apple CarPlay on your BMW motorcycle? Absolutely easy to use, just plug and play. You plug it into where your nav preparation is and it costs significantly less than BMW alternatives. Well, if that's of interest to you, stick around and stay tuned. Hey folks, welcome back to the channel on this lovely summer's day for a change, where it's not actually raining. And yeah, a video that's a little bit different because I've discovered something that I've been after for a while. I've been after an Apple CarPlay, or indeed Android Auto solution for my old BMW GS for ages. And I've been sent a number of these various units over time. None of them have been very good, except for now. This one here, this is the Chigee AIO5, stands for all-in-one 5-inch. And this is specifically for BMW, so it's called the AIO5 for BMW. And the beauty of it is it's just plug and play. If you've already got the sat-nav preparation on your BMW, be it a GS, an XR, an RT, bikes like that, then you can literally just plug this in and it works. It's brilliant. Not only that, it's good value too. About 2/3 the price of Nav 6 or the new connected ride navigator device that I reviewed a while ago. Anyway, let me take you back to the garage. I'll tell you more about it. So, welcome back to the channel folks, and welcome back to the Missenden Man Cave. So, what is this caper all about then, this Chigee AIO5 for BMW? Well, in short, I was quite interested in getting Apple CarPlay installed on my BMW GS, and I've used things, you know, connection devices in the past, and I've had limited success. I've also been sent these in the past, or very similar devices to this, but they've involved a lot of wiring and, you know, plugging into the battery and leads going out to all sorts of things, and it was just too much hassle, whereas this, completely plug and play. So for me, it absolutely works. Full disclosure, as I say, I was sent this by Chigee, I haven't paid for it. However, this is my honest opinion of this device. I think it's one of the better ones that I've been sent so far. The reason why you haven't seen them on my channel before is because I didn't like the other devices. Anyway, okay, so much for that. What about installation then? Could not be easier. As I say, no wires. All you do, if you've got the sat-nav preparation on your bike already, you literally just click it into place. It's got the same connectors for that. So you just pop it on like this. There you go, and you are good to go. And if I turn the bike on, you'll see that the screen comes alive. And bingo, we get straight into the sort of boot up screen. It takes, I don't know, 5 or 6 seconds, so not super rapid, but it just picks things up automatically. There's nothing you have to do, and it's ready to go. Now it's picked up my phone, look, and it's taken us straight into Apple CarPlay. Okay, so what are the features of this device then? Well, I've written down some of the key ones that are important to me anyway, that I thought you'd want to know. So first off, you can use the whiz wheel here, and the indicator button to actually select items on the screen. So you select them using the whiz wheel, you hold it left or right, and then this acts as kind of a return or enter button as well. Of course, because of Apple CarPlay, it means that you can use things like Waze or indeed Google Maps for navigation on your bike. It integrates with the BMW tyre pressure monitoring system, so if you've had that installed as an option, like I have on my bike, then you get the tyre pressures, as I'll show you in a minute, on the screen. Of course, if you use a headset in your helmet, it means that you can use your telephone as well. Even though you don't actually connect this up directly to your headset, you just connect it to your phone. It still works in an integrated manner. It's kind of black magic, but it just works. Again, I'll show you that in a minute. It's got an auto brightness feature, so that as you ride along in various daylight situations, it brightens or dims. It records your trip. It's got like a trip log, records your time, speeds, elevation, distance, and more. It saves mounting, for me, this is an important one. It saves, of course, mounting your phone to the handlebars because, you know, you get vibrations and stuff, whereas this thing doesn't matter about vibrations because it is what it's called IP68 rated, which means it's basically dustproof and waterproof. Basically, it's rugged. Apparently, up to 30 minutes in 1.5 meters of water. So if you're the sort of person that takes your GS off-road or through river crossings on the way to the cafe, then you're going to be fine with this. Anyway, so yeah, so lots of features and functions there. Let's take it for a quick ride, and I'll give you a quick look at what it's like when you're actually on the bike. Okay, so much for that then. What's it like to actually ride with the AIO5 on the bike? Well, in a word, pretty darn good. Thanks to its integration with the whiz wheel and the indicator button.
and also it's got a pretty good screen in terms of its sensitivity to your gloves. I've got gloves on that aren't particularly good with touchscreens, but if you actually press this, it works fine. I'll show you that in a second. But I just wanted to show you to start with the default screen that comes up on the device, and as you can see, it's showing me things like my speed in miles per hour. It's got my direction as well, like a compass, and here it's also even picking up the tyre pressures from my tyre pressure monitoring system that I had as an option on this bike. In fact, it's telling me the rear one might be a little bit low, so we'll sort that out when I get home. The screen itself is nice and clear. It's got that 60 Hz refresh rate, which means it's nice and smooth. And yeah, I seem to be able to see it in sunlight quite happily. It's a nice screen. So much for that. I mean, that's not giving me really anything extra. What I got this for is for Apple CarPlay. Now I think if I hold the whiz wheel to the right, there we go, straight over to Apple CarPlay, which obviously it's picking up from my phone, which is in my pocket. But it just works seamlessly. I've used or tried to use Apple CarPlay on other motorcycles, notably my Honda Goldwing, and although eventually I can get it to connect if I do things in the right order, it's not very stable. It drops out. So far, this hasn't dropped out once since I've been using it. There's no faffing about making sure that you've got your headset switched on first or anything like that. As long as your phone connects to this, which is very simple to set up, then you're good to go. My headset is only paired with the phone, not with this, yet it all still works, which is unusual because normally you have to connect everything up to the device itself. Not in this case. Just coming down here to get the sun behind me to see what it's like reflection wise, and so far so good. I'm not getting loads of reflections on there at all. A little bit, but in fact there's worse reflections on the main display there. Okay, so that's Apple CarPlay. It does work with Android Auto as well, but I don't have an Android phone, so I can't show you that. Let me just hit Maps there. It's the first time I've used that Maps option on here, so it's asking me to give it some permission. So once I'm around the corner, right, I've just plugged into Google Maps a route just to take me back to my house, just to see what this display's like when you're routing. And not only is this display nice and clear, as I mentioned, but also I'm getting the voice prompts in my headset. Again, it's a bit of black magic as to how that works, but it just does. And hopefully you can see this screen, it's really smooth. Oh, it's so nice to be out on the old faithful GS again on a nice weather. Okay, so CarPlay apps work fine as you'd expect. There is another screen here. If I go to, I think it's that one. That press, there we go. Then you get a display that's more akin to what you'd see on one of the newer GS models or newer BMWs, where you've got a display with sort of RPMs at the top on a bar graph. I've got my speed here. This is actually displayed in kilometres now. I need to set that up so it's in miles an hour. And again, I've got my tyre pressures as well as my low one there showing. Gear position, engine temperature, outside temperature. I've even got my lean angle showing on there, and the range to go. It's all very impressive, I have to say. But basically, I haven't read a manual or anything, but it seems pretty intuitive how to use. Well, that's interesting. I haven't actually used Apple CarPlay much on a bike before, but even though I've come back to the main screen, I'm still getting the routing details popping up when I need to do a turn. That's really good. Basically, Apple CarPlay allows you to pretty much mirror the functions and features that you're going to want to use on your phone on the bike, but without actually mounting your phone on the bike, which is a good thing because, well, I've destroyed cameras before by mounting my phone on the bike. I'm never going to do that again. One thing I have noticed is if I'm using the indicators as indicators, it somehow thinks that I want to use Siri, and the little symbol that means Siri is waiting for you to speak comes up. It's no problem, you just ignore it and it goes away again after a while. But let's see if it happens on this roundabout. Let's do a right here, and then when I cancel my indicator, let's see if we get that happen. Around we go, cancel my indicator. Oh, there we go, see, it's popped up. If I just ignore that. Oops, sorry folks at the lights. There we go, just give it a little bit of time and it disappears, or indeed you can say cancel and it will disappear. Anyway, I need to spend some weeks playing around with the features and functions on this. I'm sure if you've used Apple CarPlay in your car before or on other devices, you'll know how all this works. But I have to say, on first use, very impressed with this. Of course, you can also listen to music if you want to. I'm not a big fan of listening to music on bikes, but it's all there. I can listen to my playlists and what have you. I get the routing directions for, well, Google Maps or Waze. I prefer Waze actually. And I've got Waze on here. In fact, if I go there, and then screen, there we go, next screen. There's my Spotify and other apps that I've got on here. Next screen. There we go, there's Waze. You can put Waze on. And again, screen looks really nice and clear. Right, back to the main screen. There we go. And then I've got a selection of my apps there, and I've got the Waze screen there. Brilliant. Complete with my GPS speed. It's all good. Really, it sort of brings the feel of the whole bike a bit more up to date, because this is an old GS, obviously 10 years old now. But it gives me all the functionality of my phone that I'm going to want.
Okay, let's go through the pros and cons of the device then, the things that I've learnt since I've, on that short ride, been riding the thing, and just some of the things that have occurred to me. So let's start with the sort of dislikes. First one, and the main one, is the fact that I've never heard of Chigee before. I know nothing about the company. They're made in China, but then that isn't necessarily a bad thing. iPhones are made in China after all. So it remains to be seen what the sort of long-term customer support is like, whether the thing lasts over a period of time, that sort of thing. So don't know that yet. Jury is out. We need to test the thing longer term for that. So that's the first thing. Then the other thing, just in use, as you saw there, it does have a propensity for this little Siri thing to come up whenever I press the indicator, if a cancel button, if I'm using the cancel button, to actually cancel the indicator. So that's a bit annoying. It doesn't do anything. You can just ignore it and it goes off after a while. It's just one of those little annoyances. Other than that, there's not really anything I've found about the device that I don't like. Obviously, I need to learn how to use it a bit more efficiently, but that's just down to me using the manual and actually using the device. But so far, it seems pretty good. So that leads me on to the likes then. What are the things that I particularly liked about this? Well, the first thing is it just works. The fact that it is plug and play, you plug it in, you switch it on. I didn't read a manual or anything. I just followed the prompts on the device. I did a little update over my local Wi-Fi. Everything works absolutely fine. I love that about it. The fact it mounts into the BMW cradle, there's no wiring necessary. You saw how quickly you just plug it in and off it goes. That's fantastic. Apple CarPlay, it's reliable for the first time. I've used Apple CarPlay, as I mentioned, on my Goldwing in the past. I love Apple CarPlay, but it's been unreliable whenever I've used it on a motorcycle in the past. So far, this has proved rock solid, the Apple CarPlay on this. It's sturdily built. It's actually built out of apparently a magnesium aluminium alloy frame. It just feels well made in your hand. There's nothing about that feels trumpery or low grade. I think it's a nice looking TFT as well, running at 60 frames per second. It gives you a nice and smooth scrolling, unlike the BMW units, I have to say. The touchscreen seems pretty good in terms of its visibility. It's nice and bright and it's pretty responsive to the touch. Even if you don't use those special touch sensitive gloves, you just press the screen harder, it seems to pick you up, so that's absolutely brilliant. Once set up, it just works when you turn the bike on. You don't have to switch things on in a particular order or wait for things to connect. You just switch on and go. I love that. And then the other thing I like is the price. According to the website, this is £398. The official Nav6 from BMW I found on the web for £580, and the connected ride device that I reviewed recently, that's £600. So this is basically 2/3 of the price of those official alternatives, and this gives you Apple CarPlay. So I think that's pretty good.
So there we have it, folks. That's the Chigee AIO5 for BMW. And on this first sort of impressions review and first rides with the device, overall, I'd give it a tentative thumbs up, I think. Tentative because I need to learn, obviously, how to use the features and functions so it all becomes intuitive. Maybe I need to read the manual. Tentative because I don't know how it's going to work, you know, in rain, what it's going to be like in extremes of temperatures. I have no reason to believe it won't work well in those situations, but who knows until I've used it for a long time. And also, of course, reliability. I haven't been using the device for long yet. I need to give you an update in like a year's time about how I've been finding it. But first impressions, I think it's pretty good. The fact it's just plug and play and you've got Apple CarPlay just like that, for that alone it's probably worth the 400 quid. If you are interested in one, I have managed to get a discount, by the way, from Chigee for you. If you use TMF10 and get 10% off the price of one of these. I don't get any kickback or anything from Chigee for that. That's just a straightforward discount. I'll put details in the description below together with a link to their website. So avail yourself of that if you fancy a bit of Apple CarPlay, or indeed Android Auto on your bike. And also check out their website for details of all the BMWs that is or are supported using this device. Anyway, that's it for now. Hope you enjoyed that. Look forward to speaking to you again soon. Until then, this has been the Mr. Fly. Cheerio.